Kind of interesting why this is shifted up a little bit. No, it's not. But the bottom ones are not. Shifted up. Okay, I'm done eating. God, kan je link any slower? Oh, that's strange. Well, is it shifted up? This is commanded out, this is commanded out. The Y is not changing at all, except because of this. Don't tell me there's still a bug. Oh my god. Yes, there is. What? So this is buggy, and I run it again, and it's buggy again, and again. Buggy, not buggy. So now there's a random Y value. That is, this one is okay. The bottom one is shifted up, like not shifted down, actually. And you see the gator, the tree that's at the top, and now the bottom two shift up. Then you get the bug. Like this. I'm pretty sure that this is instance 1. So in the case of instance 1, we sometimes have a shift up. And absolutely nobody understands why. I'm checking that the instance index is only 0 or 1. Otherwise, I'm writing red. Oh, you see tectors instead of red. So, and that instance index is this thing here, which is written by the Vertex shader here. So GL instance index is either 0 or 1. And apparently that makes a difference. Now, why? I think that the instance position Y should be -1/2 plus the instance index. I mean, if I do this, it should just like never go wrong. Which unfortunately is going to require me to run it a lot to make sure that it never goes wrong. I mean, what is never? Never means I have to do this an infinite number of times and then see that it, well, never goes wrong. But maybe I can stop after, let's say, about now. Because it really doesn't go any wrong, right? This is just the right thing. Always and ever. Okay. Now, I'm gonna assume that the reason that it goes wrong is that the instance Y is not equal to that value. Let's say, shift, if it is unequal -1/2 plus instance index. Now, yes, there are floating points, but come on, 1/2. That fits perfectly. 1 also. So there should be no running of errors here. Failure is true. And if failure is true, then I do something really weird. I mean, yeah, I need an assert for GLSL. What I'm doing is I just corrupt the position completely. So we don't see anything, any corruption, and there was no error. That is okay. And again, and again, and again, and again. Okay, now that's weird. I do not see any corruption. Really, no, I don't. I mean, if you really do this failure thing, then it should not look like this, right? Let's just set failure to true. No, let's set failure to true when the instance index is 1. And then you see that you can see it, as it were. I'm dizzy. I had 1 glass of wine with my dinner. It's already too much for me. Yep. There you go. Well, come on. Do it. Do your thing. There it is. Nothing is visible. What? No, I should have seen it every time. I'm guessing that my either instance is never 1, so see that now, or this is not doing anything. GL position multiplied by 0. Actually, that could be doing nothing. Yeah, let's do something else. Because you're also multiplying the W coordinate with 0.10. And I think that works as a scaling, doesn't it? I'll keep using this because I'm convinced it is the case that. Yet let's just multiply x and y by 0.1. Then we definitely should see it. There we are. Oh, that's what I mean, small. So these two are unchanged, and this is the instance is 1. In the instance index is 1, so it got 10 times more, or 100 times, whatever you want to call it. And now I'm going to go back to if this is unequal, what it should be. Right. So it got moved up, and therefore it is wrong, and therefore it got sized down. So really that value is not correct, and then sometimes the value is correct and it is not sized down. So apparently sometimes instance position y does not have the correct value. Also, this did not have the right value. I'm not sure if Z even has any influence, but I'm also setting X to 0. So if I stop setting X to 0, is it still neat in the middle? Probably not. And then we found a bug, right? Tushar, hi. That is a working one. And then we get Well, found the bug. I mean, close in on it. Yep. Interesting. Well, the x value definitely changed. So the x value is not correct. And here's the y value not correct. I don't think the x value changed. Looks like the center still of the window. Okay, so it seems that the instance buffer is wrong sometimes. Sometimes. On second thought, I didn't figure it out completely. This cannot be fixed. I thought it was just a W value being undefined. But now we can see that even the X value is wrong. Yeah, we're just not... the Y value is sometimes wrong and the X value is sometimes wrong. Do that as well. If failure is true. Really? Okay, that was probably not useful what I just did. But then again, that works, and now everything is wrong. And I think that it happens with all of them. Definitely the W value goes wrong. And the Z value, I'm not sure. Let's say... let's comment this out and just force it to be the correct one. We already saw these go wrong, right? So this is absolutely going wrong sometimes, and the W value is going wrong sometimes, and the X value is going wrong sometimes. So now forced all of them except W. Grinder Plasma. Aha, a fellow Vulkan engine coder, programmer. Stick around and you can help me. For example, oh wait, I just compiled it or didn't I? I did. What the hell is going on here, for example? Completely disappeared off my screen. It's impossible. On the textures. Right. Oh, that's a z value. So also the z value sometimes goes wrong. So yeah, well, basically we're just trying to read this, and then we get nonsense sometimes. I thought I had figured out that it was only the w value, and then I know where to look in the C++ code, but in this case, nah, not so much. I don't know what's going on. Why would that be wrong? Sometimes. Instance data position. Cannot imagine that I am not filling it correctly. Why is it a vec4 to begin with? It smells. Let's concentrate on the instance data that I have in the current directory. In the C++ code it is defined as a vec4, and that looks okay. Yeah, bugs, man. This bug is like, every tiny little bug is like horrible to find. So I have per instance data being existing of just as a vec4, and how am I filling that stuff? It's a good question to begin with. Nothing. That's most interesting, I mean. So normally this occurs in the shader, and then it is found by the usedIn function, preprocess 1, I think. And then we do something with it, but I have commented it out. No, or rather I had it still here, but I'm using this, therefore no preprocessing happens at all. And I'm just hard-coded in whatever it should return. Did I do that correctly? I think so, because it works half the time. You never know, right? God. Diff. Shader. Still shadow. Here I hard-coded the return of this function for the push constants. So it just always returns this. And it appears that works. At least I'm only using the first one. And that is the x-coordinate. Would be nice to be 100% sure. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, because and here's the other one. Then this is going wrong apparently, but or isn't it? I don't know. Anyway, let me concentrate on this. Does the push constant always work? vi window.h. Now the push constant is this X position. It's the only one that I'm really using, I think. And I'm actually using it, yeah. So if, say, I force this one to be 0, checking it, we know who they go wrong. So I might as well just force them to be 0. I force that one, force everything. But I'm still using this MX position. In this case, I tested this, it never goes wrong. I have validation layers enabled, yes, yes, of course. There are no validation no validation errors at the moment. I think I already tested this. I don't know, I should be able to get it to pop up here, right, so you guys can see it. Remember position. Well, yeah, save and close. Let me try that. There we go. Right, so it just always goes right, never fails, ever, and so on and so on. Now people with epilepsy, what the hell happened? It's dark. No, it's white, it's not updated. Blocking, it's blocking. Another bug services while you didn't even fix one of them, and then another bug happens. Yeah. Well, it already clicked on delete window apparently, but then nothing happens. Nothing happens. That's a difficult bug, but it's definitely a different bug. Do I want to look at it right now because it happened or not? Yeah, no, I don't. I really don't. Anyway, it works, so let's try. I mean, this is the MX position works, so that's the push constant, and that just works. Clearly the vertex buffer works as well, and it's just the instance buffer. Now if we look at my diff, and these hard-coded values here are used for the push constant, and then this here is I guess this is a vec4. Yeah. But. No, I'm not convinced. I think this is. Let me just see where it is. I think it's a vertex buffer related stuff, right? Vertex input attribute descriptions. Yeah. What do these things mean, however? This is offset. And the other things, first two. Location and binding. That's offset. So it's location 2, binding 1. Location 0, binding 0. And then where is location 2, binding 0? I'm not seeing any bindings here. Okay, that's strange. Since when does a location have a binding? Help. We have location 0, 1 and 2 here. And 2 is related to the instance data. So grinder plasma, what do you think of it? It's talking about location numbers and bindings, and I'm not seeing any bindings here. So what is going on here? The Vertex input attribute description. What is this one doing here? What does it all mean? Maybe I should just look it up in the specs. What the hell this is. Binding. Ah, shotgun. Yeah, 23 is a prime number. Let's look this up. No clue what it is. Yeah, this did not work. Okay, let's close this. Let's go to specifications. Let's go to, let's search for this thing. Hey, the location. When a vertex shader input variable declared using a 16 or 32-bit scalar or vertex data type is assigned to location, its values are taken from the components of the input attribute specified with the corresponding location. That's a sentence I could not follow. Yeah, well, I don't know. It's sometimes related to the initialization code, a race condition in the initialization code. Might even be that I'm doing something with two threads, not in a not thread safe way. That would be the hardest bug ever. But yeah. Right. I guess it's saying it here, at least the 10% that I understand of it. So vertex shaders can define input variables. I have 3 of them, right? Let's keep track of it in real time in the code. In. These are my 3 input variables, not counting the push constant, which is something else. Vertex shaders can define input variables, which receive vertex attribute data, whatever you want to call it, transferred from one or more vertex buffers by drawing commands. I have 2 buffers, namely vertex data, a buffer with vertex data structs and a buffer with instance data structs. So somehow, of course, you have to tell it which buffer these variables correspond to. Which receive vertex attribute data inferred from one or more buffers by drawing commands. Not clear. Vertex shader input variables are bound to buffers via an indirect binding. The vertex shader associates a vertex input attribute number with each variable. Vertex input attributes are associated to vertex input bindings Okay, vertex input attributes are associated to vertex input bindings on a per pipeline basis. And vertex input bindings are associated with specific buffers on a per draw basis. Per draw. Really? Via the VK command bind vertex buffers. This might be the problem then. I am doing this outside this loop. So that would mean that the first one works and the second one might not work. I'm going to repeat this inside the loop, I think. Just to see if that makes a difference. Before I do that, do I have something that fails now or not? I don't think I have anything that fails, right? No, it's not failing because I'm forcing all the values. Let's not force any value. The rest is exactly like I want it. Now it goes wrong, yeah. So sometimes it goes wrong. And even now I go to draw. That's our loop. What happens if I do this inside the viewport? Scissors might even be the, but yeah, I don't think so. I'm gonna do this inside the loop. Have to do this inside the loop. Do I? No. But then again, actually. Through this outside loop. And then let's do this inside loop. And then the scope here is ending here. So yeah, well, okay. En ja, ik ben inderdaad Nederlands, waarom vraag je dat? Let's see. Well, that settles it. Damn. I was really hoping that was it. Well, let's keep it there for now, but still. Vertex input bindings are sorted the draw basis. Vertex input attribute. Vertex input binding descriptions. I still have no clue. Basically, I thought I had a clue. Well, I figured out that something goes wrong with reading the instance data, but that's where it stops. EAG. Hello. Yeah, I'm gonna mess up code to get compile errors usually. I messed up code now. No compile errors, no errors at all. This is the hardest bug. It's when you basically have no idea whatsoever. So you can just sit and think and you'll never find it. So what I do is just keep making random changes, trying things, and usually nothing works. Sometimes you get a little insight, but yeah, it's a nightmare. Yeah, this is not explaining anything. Binding is the binding number. Yeah, thank you. Which this attribute takes its data from. So what? Now I still don't know anything. Yeah, it's for every the binding specified by each element of a p vertex attribute descriptions, a vk vertex input binding description 2 extension must exist in p vertex binding descriptions with the same value of binding. Yep, either I'm stupid or I have no idea what I mean. What I mean in this spec usually. Yeah, I need help too. Yes, it's about dynamic state. I don't think I have that. Not aware of that anyway. Okay, I think my description maybe, I don't know. Vertex attribute description count. Isn't that the same thing? Location, binding, format, offset. Location, binding, format, offset. Yeah, it is the same except that this has a P next. Yeah, I'm not using it. See, then I don't know what binding is, so I go to the bloody specs, I read the specs, I put a lot of time to reading it, and I still don't know what it is. Is that me, or are the specs just shit? It's not explaining anything. I don't understand this. Okay, wild guess. I think I even saw it somewhere. It's simply the buffer. So this is the Vertex buffer and this is the instance buffer. And that does make sense because 2 was the instance buffer. And then these locations are, well, whatever, random basically. And this offset here is, I guess, the offset in the Vertex structure. So 16 would skip a vec4 or something like that. So we compare that with, say, Vertex data. The position is here, therefore the next one is 16 bytes as an offset of 16 bytes. That's okay. Yeah, so this is location 0, location 1 in buffer 0, which is the Vertex buffer. Location 0, location 1 in buffer 0, and then the offset is 16 because this one is a vec4. This is not a vec4. Why is it called a vec4 here? How does that work? Maybe it's... no. What's a vec2? Looks very much like a vec4 here. But okay, that would be this one, texture coordinates, and that doesn't go wrong. And even does it go wrong, then I'm only using the first two. And it's probably nothing. Why did it? I mean, I didn't type this by hand. I just copied it from what my engine is generating normally. Where did it get the format from? Magically must be correct, but still, it's kind of strange. See if we can find that back. Yeah, the only way we could have gotten this is when rows is 4. So that's definitely type 2 format is being called on vec4 somewhere. Now how did it change that vec2 into a vec4 then? I have to look into that as well. I don't think that's the case here. Cannot be the case. Refuse to accept. No, wait. Okay, well, let's just change it. I mean, who cares? So if this was 2, then this was the format. Then I can just change 560. There. Now it's a vec2. No change here. No change whatsoever. Both the error happened anyway, and it looks okay in the other time, so I guess it doesn't really matter, but it might still be a bug that the wrong format ended up there. Okay, well, I was looking at this one, so that looks like a vec4, so it must be a buffer of vec4s. So yeah, basically that's what it says here. Location 2 exists of vec4s, and you gotta read it from buffer number 1. Looks okay to me. Here. So somewhere I'm binding those buffers, Vertex buffers here. That is buffer number 1. This is buffer number 0, obviously. This only contains a handle. But let's find it backwards. Vertex buffers is a reference to a read locked and vertex buffers. This must wrap a vertex buffers container type. Yep, and then we get a read log. So it wraps the vertex buffer container type and get a read log on it. A read write spin log. I think the spin log is for the write. So reading is this is especially cheap for reading, for read logging. at the cost of being very, very expensive for right long. But I'm just read-locking it in the render loop, so that's okay. And then I'm getting a reference to the vector that is inside of it. It exists of two buffers. Can I see something with these buffers? I think that's this buffer, right? It's a handle. A handle with a allocation size. A copy of the size of the buffer. Also stored in MVH allocation, only valid when VH is non-null. Publicly accessible. I could print M size. Yeah, this is mysterious magic, so let's not touch that one. Or actually, it's not that mysterious. There is something like get information about it. I'm going to print a size, I think. Did I do that correctly? Just dot M size. Gives me a buffer. Buffer gives me a size. Okay. No, let's do something else. I mean, like no idea and then just doing something includes, for example, what I'm going to do now. If this buffer is destroyed, then destroy is being called, which sets the handle to 0. Well, okay, that should give a validation error. But hey, let's set the size also to 0. At least I'm not sure that it's not being destroyed then. Nah, I'm just really doing just something randomly. Why don't you Google it? I mean, asking it in a YouTube chat, it's like the worst possible way to get an answer if you ask me. I mean, it's not even related to this stream, which is about Vulkan and C++. So clearly the buffer is 64 and it should be 64, I guess. Well, think about that. Ah! That is the size of the Vertex buffer. Aha! Aha! Finally we found something. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's try that again. It goes wrong and it prints 3072. And again. And it goes right and it prints 64. We just have the wrong buffer. Finally we're getting somewhere. Now, since I recognize that 3072 is the size of the vertex buffer, isn't it? Calculator. Plop, 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 bing. Was 3072. Well, that's hopefully divisible by 4. It is. So that is 768 float values. That contains vec4, so that divided by 4 again. So 192 vec4s. And I have triangles. It's always scary to divide it, but I think that I have 6 faces. This is for 1 cube, right? So I divide it by 6. Yes, that is 32 vec4s per face. And pretty sure I am having 32 triangles per face. So why would that be one thing per triangle? I don't know. Anyway, it is the vertex buffer. So, yeah, let's do something else, like print the size of the CO as well. Right, so now we get both values, and if I get an error, we get only that. So my guess is now that it is even the same handle. And it isn't. Ho ho. Right. Different handles. How is that possible? Okay, let's try to start looking at the debug output, I guess. Yeah, please fail. It fails. That's nice. Top, at the bottom, scroll up. Oh, there we go. And this one is a bit weird. So what is it? Oops, a lot of them. Let's start at the top. Created M Vertex buffers 1 MV buffer with handle hopplepop. Memory requirements. Allocated a buffer with memory requirement size 3072. I'm not following what it says here, but yeah. Create task, copy data to buffer. Unsigned long, blah, blah, blah. I don't think I have to look further because the size is wrong here already. We have a combination here of 1 and the wrong size. So here it calls it create buffer with size 3072, usage transfer vertex buffer. Checking mode exclusive, flags usage 7, preferred type memory mid pool, nothing special. How do I get that one here? I mean, this is just a debug variable, so string. It will be passed to this function. To this function. The music stopped. The day the music stopped. Could make a movie of it. The day the music stopped. Dramatic. Bear, how are you, buddy? Multiplexie Disney. Valboelen said. Okay, let's continue debugging. Bear, I just found something that is wrong. I did that several times already today, but we're going slowly towards the actual place in the code where it must go wrong. Very slowly. Very slowly. Today I was in the shop and I stood there without moving, thinking about what I would buy for how do you lekkers. That's how they call it. Dutch to English. I really don't know that. As soon as it's not about computers or programming, I have no idea. Dutch to English. Lekkers. Nope. Goodies. Okay. Okay. I go with goodies. What a word. It took a long time because I was fighting with myself about, on one hand, really craving for some goodies, and on the other hand, telling myself, don't buy it. It's always gonna be grease or sugar. It's absolutely not what you want to eat. In the end, I didn't buy it, but that was a long fight, and I stood there so long thinking that at some point I started noticing that people were looking at me. I guess they never saw someone thinking 5 minutes in the middle of the shop about buying goodies or not. Well, hey, I was victorious. I didn't buy it. But now I have to think about it again. And now I'm thinking like, I wish I had bought a bag of wine gums. I don't know why. Never buy wine gums, but maybe it's because bear. You have gummy bears, right? All kinds of different colors. Okay, back to coding. So what's going on here? We should look at the C++ code where the function is being called, and then maybe that might figure out why we have an index of entering. Yeah, this is definitely a size here as well. Create is being called. Not very clear. This is where it is created. Entering, create vertex buffers. That's the main function, encapsulating everything. Create vertex buffers calls create buffer with the size of 3072. Let me check that we entered this function only once. Definitely should only. What? Okay. Yeah. Well, there's this, the bug. Oh my god. Deja vu. So somewhere I have this fix me where create vertex buffers is being called, and it used to use a standard once. So standard call once, and the fix me was this is a bit strange that we are calling it like this. So I started to fix that, but in order to fix that, I had to do something else first, you know? So I started to fix that. And then, while working on that, in order to fix that, I had to fix something else first. And then, and so on, I think maybe another layer. And then suddenly I saw a bug. And I thought, well, let's drop everything I'm doing and fix that bug first. And what does it turn out? That bloody fix me that I was working on a month ago. But at least now we can say that it is solved, the mystery. Create vertex buffers is being called twice. Bloody hell. This is literally in the middle of a fix me that is going to fix exactly that. And then I discover a bug as a result of it. I didn't even have a bug before. I just, you know, I saw that and I was like, yeah, you cannot do that. Let's fix it. So a few weeks later, I see a bug that is being caused by the same thing. But I didn't know. What a waste of time. Okay. Yeah, so this is the one. That is the one. So I was working on this fix me, Then I had to do something else. I worked on that, and then had to do something else. So I worked on that. I mean, in order to fix, etc., etc., going back. And then I ran into this bug. And it turns out to be caused by calling this body thing twice. Okay. I should be happy, I guess, that I found it. It should only be called once. Yep. Well, then I'm going to add back. I don't know why I deleted it. I probably deleted it because once I have really fixed this, I don't need a standard call once anymore. This is the wrong test application, but this is the one. Let's copy it anyway. Yep, okay, so yeah. Create Vertex buffers. Max Sin asks, is there an end of this development? No, no end. I mean, maybe at some point I give up, or I get distracted so much that I just don't return to the project, or I die. Well, equally likely. But finished? Nah. Unfortunately, I have no offspring, no kids myself, so it's never going to be finished. Unless, of course, one of you guys... actually, I didn't... one of my other moderators, I forgot which one. He said he was going to join my project. So then he might finish it somewhere during his lifetime. He's much younger. You take the words out of my mouth, Veldboenen. But I have no translator, so I have no idea what you were saying. Yeah, now I give it so much attention, I'm curious, of course. Can we do that? Translate. Yeah, it looks like Russian, but I have no idea. The other way around. Detect language. 2 CDE English. Thank you. I have to copy it again. Copy, paste, all's wisdom, and on Monday prepare rednecky for a drink, a loafer with a little strum in cup so it won't be so hot on Tuesday. Okay, we detected another not a psychopath, psychotic person who didn't take his meds. Or the translation went wrong. How do I fix this? Like the correct way? quickly, as in not fix it. Write a workaround. I'm gonna write a workaround that is so dirty that my grandmother is going to rise from the grave, slap me on the fingers, and that will force me to really address it again in the future. Let's make it an int. Was I don't know. Aren't all bools ints? If done, dot fetch and fetch or does it exist? Equals false. It's so dirty. I'm not even sure it compiles. It compiled. And there's just one other. Let me first edit window, and then the other one. Seven. Oh, why am I here? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Jim 2327. Someone wants to know my system details. Usually I answer you don't want to know. But in the meantime my PC has become so old that maybe I can just tell you. Because it's not that new anymore, right? Even new. I don't know. I have... can run 32 threads. I have 16 cores. Got proc CPU info. I have this thing, 16 core. And 32 gigabyte of memory. RAM and an RTX 2080 Super. It's a graphics card. And then I think I have an NVMe of 1 terabyte on the motherboard. Well, that should be enough. Yeah, see, now I don't know what I did anymore. I did run make. Is that sufficient? Now, the big test. Now it should not go wrong anymore. It's impossible what it goes wrong. I mean, like really impossible. Yeah, okay, I'm convinced. Okay, so nope, that's my temporary fix. Do not revert that. I like the cat, so let's keep this as well. I guess that can be removed. Yes. And this then, this can all be removed. Failure is false. Can also be removed. Yes. No. Yes. Can I put it outside loop again? Should work. Yes, because it really is not important to set it to 0 there. Yes, because it's just hard-coded stuff, which was necessary because I hard-coded the shader. Same thing. Same thing. Or not the same, but whoa, nothing's left. Git diff. Till my hack into new textures. That's all. Yeah, now we finally got to the topic of hacking. This is a hack. That's what I call a hack. Let it define the word for you. Yeah, okay. So back to the to-do list, I guess. Yay. Phew. Okay, now the to-do list. Split texture into 2 classes. That was what I was working on. So the to-do list is in my stream description. I can remove the believe I found a problem. And then we get split texture into 2 classes. One that is needed for the shaders to compile and one that represents an actual texture. The former then can be used with one of many of the latter. Okay, so that is what I was working on, and it entails. Yeah, 2 days ago I think I was like, okay, what I did so far is actually not doing anything. I just split the class up into a base class and a derived class, and then the derived class being derived from that base class is still whatever it was, so nothing changed. And I wanted to prove then by compiling it and running it and showing that everything still was the same. And then I ran into this bug, and then I fixed the bug, and now we go back because indeed nothing changed. And textures, texture. Where's texture defined? Let's go to Vulkan. Shader builder, guess. And then we have shader resources. Or not. There's hier resource. Texture. That was the texture, right? Or do I have more than one texture? Yeah, that is the texture. Eventually you get there. No, that's another texture. I have 2 textures, but both in the same file here. So this was the original texture, and it represents the handles to the image view, to the buffer and the sampler. So this is the actual image, you know, like the cats. And before I had it completely merged with whatever is in this class, but now this class is a base class, and it doesn't contain that much. It contains this member, which is also called a member for a different reason, and this base class. This base class belongs to this texture. Now what is this texture is, I'm gonna think about it as a descriptor. So you can update the descriptor with handles. In this case I would say the handle to the image and the handle to the sampler. And then it represents, when that descriptor is being used by a shader, then you see that cat. And if I update the descriptor again to use different handles that point to different buffers with different image in it, and you see that. That's the idea. And I'm using this class to generate the declaration of the texture in the shader. Hello, Post Bunny. Texture. So this was the first attempt to make that split. This is also a handle. So this base class has been kept here as the base class of this texture. No, I don't believe in wave function collapse. I think it's nonsense. If you observe or measure or whatever a superpositioned system, which was previously clearly isolated from your own system, otherwise it cannot be a superposition, then you become entangled with it, which in my eyes it just means that your reality splits up and there is a U that measures every possible classical value. So it's just the Schrödinger equation that propagates the wave function from the isolated system through the measurement to the rest of the universe. Nothing special, no collapse, nothing goes faster than light, nothing non-linear going on. But yeah, to you it looks like a collapse because you're suddenly only aware of one value. The rest doesn't exist anymore. I think the main next step or goal should be to generate a declaration without having the image already. In other words, not having this at all, or anything that is, well, I don't care about the constructors and all the functions. I should not need these functions to generate the declaration, which means that theoretically I should be able to replace wherever I'm using this texture now with just this texture. Because the next question is, what is entanglement? Because I have my own idea about that as well, which I do not see anywhere else back. People just say, and then they are entangled. What does it mean? Well, it means that they are entangled. So if two particles that are entangled are moving apart at the speed of light, and that's, you just you know, way far apart and they're still entangled. And then they are at a light year away from each other, they are still entangled. And then if you measure one of them, then bang, the other one instantly over the whole light year collapses. Yeah, not. No. Entanglement has to do with interactions that you can do with it. Hell, dark matter might be maybe an interesting thing, that it is particles that are not entangled with us. So if you get what I mean. Let's say you have a particle that is is a superposition of spin up and spin down or whatever, and then you measure it and you measure spin up. Then there is also a U that measures spin down, so your reality splits. But the reality in which you are aware of having measured the spin up cannot interact anymore with the reality where you measure spin down, including the particle that has a spin down. So you lose the interaction with the part of the original particle. Now, what if that does not influence the mass, to the gravity? Gravity has not been linked to quantum mechanics yet in any way, so why not? I think, in my eyes, is a good candidate. Dark matter is actually all those measurements that you didn't do, that you didn't measure. So the other side of the collapse wave function. But then what does that mean? I mean, the most important part is, and I didn't figure that out, is what is reality, right? I mean, reality here means that you can interact. So if, say, you have those two particles which are a light year apart and they are entangled, whatever that means, and then you have two scientists to measure their spin, then both of the scientists, nothing happens in between. It's just a whole light year in between, nothing happens in between. Nothing goes faster than light, there's no collapse, nothing. So one scientist measures spin up and spin down at the same time, and there's a reality splits. And the other scientist also measures spin up and spin down, and there's reality splits as well. And then they travel towards each other again at the speed of light, or slower than the speed of light, or they send a message, whatever. And then when they interact, only the scientist that has measured spin down in one case and then the scientist that has measured spin up in the other case can interact. They are not aware of the others. So in fact you have only two realities. The reality where one is up and the other one is down, or the reality where one is down and the other one is up. So maybe, let's say, the reality is just could be expressed as, say, I don't know, an axis in some kind of infinite dimensional space, and you can interact because you live on the same axis. I don't know. I have a vague idea. Personally, I think that you know, every measurement belongs actually to some kind of operator, and then the only thing you can measure are the eigenvalues of that operator, because only the eigenvalues survive for macroscopic times and distances. But yeah, we are not talking about physics. I'm a physicist, by the way. Didn't I tell that? University that I did was physics. And then immediately after a PhD, I went into programming, C++. I was like, I had enough. I had enough physics for the rest of my life. I'm going to program computers. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to try to use this texture instead of the other one. And then all hell will break loose. But then we are, yeah, really? And what was it called? And what was it called? No way. I don't know. Really? Initialization. Kill me. No, I just want to search for texture. Texture. There we are. Texture. No, that's not the one. Or is it? It is. Really? M textures. Okay. Yeah. Textures. Now here the things are actually uploaded. So this is like the texture named, or from read it from disk. It's the cat or the Beatles, or whatever it is, and they are being uploaded. That must be unchanged. But somewhere else I have this. I have this, and this is not. This should not depend on the files, it should just depend on the descriptor. Alright, is that the only place? Yeah, I guess, yeah. Now add texture takes currently the shader resource texture. And that's not allowed, right? So I'm going to change this into descriptor texture. It's kind of fake, but I can do that because this is the base class of the other one. And then suddenly we only have the base class, and it still has to work. Now I'll change the declaration as well. And yeah, I could try to compile it, and you will see that it doesn't compile in the same function because I changed the type. And no, that's not quantum entanglement. Suppose when he says no matter how far apart they are, they will do the same thing. Absolutely not true. What is this? Vulkan descriptor texture has not been declared. Oh, how is that possible? Is it just forward declared then? Yes, it's just forward declared. prepare texture declaration. Well, I might as well change everything now. Descriptor. And then this has to go into namespace descriptor. I did a brave thing today. I deleted the app for my tablet that I was most addicted to. And also extremely useless. It's like 100% waste of time, and they force you to watch an hour per day advertisements. Every time the same advertisement, of course. And I did it for some reason. Psychology is interesting. But the first opportunity that I managed to get my rationality take over, it was just a short moment. But my pure rational side said this game is going nowhere. Every level is 100% the same thing as the previous one. What are you doing? You're wasting time. You should not be doing this. Delete it, because it is still addictive. And I was doing it like at least 2 hours, maybe 3 hours a day. Pure 100% waste. Really. I hope I don't reinstall it. They should make it possible to block certain applications from your phone, so you cannot even install it anymore. Which game is the best? Post Bunny. The scammers are back. Okay, so where are we? I should stop because I'm starting to ramble about stuff instead of coding. Prepare textual declaration. Yeah, I did change the declaration, but I did not change the definition here. Descriptor. I guess it should do it. What? It compiled. It bloody compiled. Okay, I deserve a break now. Don't tell me it also works. Holy shit. That was easy. There's a little step. I can hardly believe it. No, it cannot be. This is not. No, not possible. What happened? Okay, my confusion comes from the following. When I generate the declarations of my GLSL input variables, I have to pick descriptor sets and the bindings and stuff like that. And in doing so, my engine tries to reuse everything that it can reuse. And currently it's doing that by looking at handles. The image handles, to be precise. So how can it compile when I take away the ability? I mean, there are no handles anymore in the texture that it has now. Huh? Oh wait. Actually, it didn't work with textures to begin with. It worked with the base class. That base is the base class of my descriptor texture. And yet still it has somehow to look at those handles. Pretty sure. Let me try to remember the function where that happens. Blinko mind. Or a keyword, anything that I can grab for, so I can find it back. You know, I remember only one word. And it is existing. There's one. Existing score. So this is the file. And I had another existing descriptor. No, this is existing scores, not what I was looking for. There it is, existing descriptor set. It is looking for existing descriptor sets, so apparently it found one here. Descriptor sets, I think so, yeah. Probably just descriptor sets. How many other existings do I have here? Maybe I'm confused. So existing descriptor set, existing score. Oh wait, this is existing score, yeah. Actually this not, I don't know. Let's forget about the score. Then there is just existing descriptor set. And it found it here. And it says that it finds it, well still anyway, still have a match. Because the number of shader resources bound to the descriptor set as key. I'm going to have to read that 10 times probably. And I wrote it myself. The number of shader resources bound to that descriptor set. Okay, is equal to the number of shader resources in this set index. And then you think that if you use long variable names, full English, that's going to be self-explanatory. I wrote this code. I cannot understand what is exactly happening here. I'm using Arch Giorgos. No, it's Arch Linux. Sassy Wuku says, can you take a look at the chat I'm now and answer me? What are you making? I'm making a deep breath Vulkan engine. Yeah, I need a cam. There were eye movements going on that you didn't see. In the next live, I'm going to be an actor, I tell you. Yeah, okay, this was horrible to write. It took me very long and I was like, oh my god, this is so difficult. And people who have been here for a while definitely were on the stream while I worked on this for weeks, just one function. And it's not really strange that now I have no idea whatsoever what it's doing, I guess. But if I pretend that I do understand this, it's going to be sound as follows. This is a sub-function from the total function that I worked on for weeks. I just split it up and I kept splitting it up, and now eventually we had a smaller piece called update missing descriptor sets, where the update refers to what it does at the end. Calls allocate, update and add handles. There's an update in it. Don't know what this does, but there is an update in it. It's calling that. That's another function here. And that function does at some point update descriptor set. That's shorter, and it also has update in it. No, seriously, this binds positive that it had to do something with handles. Texture update descriptor set. Okay, so that's how it works. You're gonna use virtual functions on me to sneak back to my derived class. It had to happen. Oh. Now I remember that I was thinking that several days ago while I was splitting up this class, that in order to split it up I also have to get rid of the virtual functions, because the base class may not know anything about this derived class. In the end I'm not even going to derive from it anymore. I'm just going to have two completely different classes. No virtual functions allowed. Now I found it this way, but I insist on finding it the other way. So instead I'm going to base, I guess. Then. So we go to, let's say, this class here. It's derived from base. It has no virtual functions on its own. It only has nothing, right? It only has the base class. And that's also the only thing that eventually my declaration generating code gets, this base class. But that one has 4 virtual functions, ignoring the print on. Yep. Which means that each and every one of these is implemented by the function that the class that I want to separate, including this one, which you just found. This frame resource could be implemented because it just depends on whether or not it is texture or not. I already know that. Instantiate? I don't think so. I think instantiate means literally like create it or something. Instantiate. Oh, that's super interesting. It's not even called. That would be nice if it was not called, of course, but jump back to texture again. No, might as well go here. Look at this texture and I'll find the overrides here. Override. Instantiate. Yeah, there we go. 1, 2, 3. And apparently we're using the default value of false for this shader resource. We only have 3. Got to remove these. I want to know what this instantiate is doing. I just want to know who's calling it actually. Let's first look what it does. Oh, that's a lot. Nothing. Oh, that's correct. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's not doing anything because it's not a shader resource. No, it's not a frame resource. That's what it is. Of course, it is a shader resource. I just got confused with that word as well. So it's not a frame resource, meaning that I'm not switching to a different resource every frame. I can just draw a frame n and then reuse the same object again in frame n+1, even while n is still being drawn by the GPU. And that's because I'm not writing to it. The texture is just a texture and I'm only reading it. So, no instantiation going on. But the instantiation itself is very, 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 very dubious. to begin with. Because if in the end I want my textures to be just a descriptor, then there is definitely nothing to instantiate. Also not for uniform buffers, if I want to replace my uniform buffer by a descriptor object in the end. And I don't think I want that. Not sure. The main problem comes from the naming. Say I'm using the name of the C++ class in the shader code. Now in the case of textures, that's like requiring a different class for each texture. So yeah, if you have 1,000 textures, it's going to be a problem. So instead of having an instance of something, you want to have an array. But for uniform buffers, it's a bit different, I think. I can have a uniform buffer that already exists of an array. I'm supporting arrays, so. And then I can just call my uniform buffer whatever it represents. And then I still have an array. It's much closer to its struct name, say. I'm just not convinced that, though maybe Alain only did the textures. I'm feeling old and going senile when I say Alain suddenly in the middle of a sentence, which is not English but Dutch. Why do I do that? Okay, anyway, I was saying, so maybe only textures need this change. No, I can simply not instantiate them. I don't know. It feels like a clutch. It feels opportunistic, or something that is not flexible enough, not general enough. But at least it's not our biggest problem. So let's go to this is definitely the biggest problem, I guess. There was another one. So this one, set layout boundary. Nope. So that is a problem, and then prepare shader resource declaration might be a problem. No, probably not. That looks very declaration specific. It does pass this. Prepare textual declaration of the shader input data. Which now gets a descriptor set index. No, what? Descriptor set index. Control T. No. That's not what I wanted. Oh, apparently this descriptor set index. Really, what? This texture can be passed as a descriptor set index. Full of surprises. Yeah. Doesn't look like it to me. So what's going on there? I am not seeing it. What is this doing? This is a texture. This is a texture. I'm passing it to shader input data. Shader input data. Prepare texture declaration. That's the first argument. Am I wrong or am I right? I'm passing a texture const reference probably. It's const. Sorry. To prepare texture declaration of shader input data. Yeah, this one. Why didn't I see that immediately? And that is a descriptor texture. Boys Bunny, yes, I'm gonna stop, you're right. I earn a break. I thought, kind of. I also need to work harder because it's going nowhere at this speed. But yeah, okay. I'm going to stop and maybe go earlier to bed. Oh, that would be a good thing. Oh, yeah, definitely it would be. So the first step then is to quit streaming earlier. Thank you for being here, peoples, and for all the likes and stuff. I'm gonna continue tomorrow with this endeavor of ripping out. It's not easy. I think it's not easy. It is not easy. In fact, it's so difficult I cannot even make a summary of what I have to do tomorrow. So I'll just dive into it again. Good night.